this. I
Okay.
see Alyssa Gardner in the room. Wow, Alyssa, I'm honored right now. I am fired up right now. See, you actually just made my heart rate go up a little bit more. I just got this Fitbit, and before this meeting, it was at like, I don't know, 82, and now I'm at 108. So you, which is over 8 points over. But anyway, you guys, so my name's Nick Lynch. Thank you so much for coming into this class and allowing me to train you tonight, this evening on step 4. So a little bit about myself. So I've been in World Financial Group for a little over 3 years now. I'm so blessed to have this opportunity to be with this amazing organization. You guys, I believe that this is the #1 opportunity, bar none, right? And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. And learning the BFS is so key, right? Because it's the instruction manual to our business, right? The business format system. And there's the 6 steps to building our business, right? So what's #1? Prospecting, right? So we go out and we prospect. #2 is approaching contact. #3 is the presentation. And then #4, what we're doing right now is going to be the follow-up. #5 is the startup. And then #6 is duplication, right? On a raise of hands, how many individuals have read their BFS on a show of hands? Okay. So I see a lot of people, but not everyone, right? So we want to make it a point that we actually read our business format system, and you have access to it not only virtually right now through the programs that we have set up where you watch Dan, or now watching me actually going over the steps, but also the physical book, right? It's the instruction manual. So I'm going to actually share my screen with you. Now we're going to break this up into 2 parts, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go through the psychology of step 4, and I'm also going to go over some key points, right? But then on Saturday for training for step 4, I'm going to actually do a live appointment, right? I'm literally going to go through what the interview process looks like from when I actually sit down with someone after inviting them to BPM. So everybody can see my screen, yeah? Thumbs up? Okay, perfect. All right, you guys. So mastering the art of the follow-up. So, purpose: to quickly move the prospect through the onboarding or client process, right? So, as you know, as we get recruited in this business, right, we have what's called what? A fast start, right? So everything in business is fast. Success loves speed
Yeah.
in this business, right?
Hi, Scott.
If you guys can just mute yourselves, that would be great.
Okay.
Actually, I can do it for you. I'm co-host. Okay. So again, we want to move through quickly. Everything in World Financial Group is quick, right? Even when we sit down with our clients, right, we want to make sure that we're following up every 24 to 48 hours, right? Really 72 hours is the longer part, right? But we really want to follow up fast, especially when it comes to following up in the follow-up, right? After we actually bring someone, I remember, it's so great. Reminisce a little bit. So I loved when we were at our brick and mortar. It was absolutely phenomenal. Just the energy of the room when someone was brought to BPM, and the handshaking and the meeting everyone and then being shuffled into the room and watching the presentation live. It was absolutely phenomenal. And then right after that, you get with your guest, hey, wasn't that amazing? What stood out to you? Let's go ahead and book a follow-up appointment, and let's do that tomorrow. Well, now doing it virtually, we get to make sure we're doing a lot of touching now, because we're not so much in a room. So everybody that was in that brick and mortar style knows what I'm talking about. They know now in the virtual world, right? We got to make sure that we're constantly touching up, following up, right? Everything is following up. So execute these 2 following elements properly, and you will recruit a high percentage of people, and at the same time have a higher volume of sales, a byproduct of running a recruiting system. What you get to ask yourself is, how do you want your WFG business to look in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, right? Are you that individual that's thinking, hey, look, I'm going to be a personal producer, right? And I just want to personally help families? Or are you coming into this opportunity with the mindset of a builder, right? Building a business and recruiting, right? And the follow up and putting people, right? Because our raw material is people. So it's bringing them into BPM, right? Exposing them to our opportunity and then following up. So we are looking for people who are looking for us. Do you know it's such an amazing energy? It's such an amazing energy to not have to convince anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. It is so amazing, right? I mean, I remember when I was in sales, I used to have to convince someone to buy that particular product. But here, we don't have to convince anyone. We just convey a message, right? The power of our business, right? The crusade of what we do and our opportunity. And naturally, we're going to find people that are looking for us, right? So you as the leader must guide the prospect through the follow-up process. Every single one of you on this call is a leader. Every single one of you on here is a leader, right? And leaders control the point of contact. So you as the leader, you're going to guide, you're literally going to virtually handhold this prospect and go through the whole entire system, right? You're going to follow them through. So the follow-up process starts prior to the presentation, right? So before the presentation even starts, we want to start going over number one, leader has prearranged time to contact prospect after within 24 hours. Meaning this, they have come to BPM, we want to follow up within 24 hours. Now, my suggestion to you is to follow up immediately. So before I'm even sending someone to BPM on that phone call, on that contact, I'm already letting them know. I'm going to say, hey, Alyssa, what I'm going to do is after the BPM, the business presentation meeting, I'm going to give you a quick phone call. We're going to talk less than 2 minutes, and I'm just going to get some of your feedback. And if you feel like it's a good fit for you, then we'll go ahead and set up your follow-up interview. Sound fair enough? Great. Okay, enjoy the business presentation meeting, right? So then she's already now expecting me to follow up right after because it's still hot. The contact is still hot, right? They get put in the virtual meeting. There's music. I mean, our team does such a great job putting on these events, you guys. Such an amazing job, right? Alyssa works countless hours to make sure that we have this, right? In this virtual world, we pivot. Synergy's doing absolutely phenomenal with it. I'm so proud of our team and everyone on it and the leaders on it. So grateful. But, so they go in here, it's the music, they get all fired up, they see their dreams, they learn about financial principles, how they can help families, how they can help their own family, and yet create an abundance amount of wealth for themselves. So we want to strike, what is that? Strike the iron when it's hot. I think that's what it is, right? The poll is a good indicator of their interest. So at the end, as most of you know, if you were recruited on the BPM, at the end you had the poll, right? And it's are you interested in becoming a business partner part-time, right, or full-time? And then also doing a complimentary financial needs analysis, right? Which is so amazing that we have 3 days a week, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, we run these BPMs, and then we have access to all these cards, all these virtual cards, to find out what kind of follow-up interview that we're going to do or what that follow-up process is going to look like. You want them to experience the power of the virtual environment. We're in the virtual world now, you guys, and it's so interesting too. I don't know how much you're into science and technology and just where we're going as humanity with evolution of technology, but this is just the part of the virtual experience. Within the next 5 years from now, we'll all literally be in like a virtual room. It's gonna be absolutely bananas. I'm so excited for the future. I really am with technology. But we want to get them exposed to our environment. you know, with the music, seeing all the squares pop up, you know, we have 350, 400 people coming to BPMs. You know, it's an experience. They're like, man, wow, this on Tuesday night, they have 350 people from across the country here on this event. So it's exciting. And then after that, you want to make sure you send them a thank you kit, right? What's going to be in that thank you kit? Get with your SMD. Each one has a different thank you kit. It's all relatively almost the same, but everybody has their a little bit of differences, their own little spice and twist to it, right? But it's making sure that they get that information so they can read that information themselves. They don't actually have to go looking for it on the internet, which is important. Why is it important? Because unfortunately, you know, in the world that we live in, you know, people go on the internet and they might see a bad comment or a bad review, and then they all of a sudden speculate, and then they're like, oh, you know, it's, you know, it's their persona of what they see this as. You know, I just actually did yesterday, one of my agents, she runs an Instagram page, and she actually had me go on there. That was one of the things to bring it up, like finding something on the internet. And, you know, it's just, you know, it's conveying that message, right? And having them realize that there is no pyramid schemes. You know, it's not a marketing, you know, somebody said, is it network marketing? No, it's not network marketing, right? So you send them the thank you kit, because what's going to happen is they'll actually now can debrief on all that information, and they don't have to go searching for it, which is so ideal, right? Follow up to confirm they received thank you kit. So following up with them, everything is follow up. Everything is follow up, you guys. And everything gets to move quickly, but there also gets to have, it's like a rhythm and a pace. Like folks have to realize that you genuinely care about them, right? You're in a business where you're in a people's business, right? So we genuinely have to care about individuals. You bringing someone over to the BPM, okay, inviting them to our virtual experience and learning that education, right? I know, like, we go, oh, well, I want a business partner because it's going to help me build my business, or, you know, I want to show this individual because they can buy a policy or whatever it is. But just exposing them to the information is so important. It's so key that you actually like taking the time to care about this person, because now they're going to level up. And now they have the opportunity on this card to fill up whether or not they want an opportunity or they want to do a complimentary financial needs analysis, which is phenomenal, right? And there's no pressure with that, right? Because we're looking for people looking for us. And if prospect cancels or reschedules, keep following up with attentive, positive, encouraging contacts. So if the, you know, it's so interesting because a bunch of times, you know, going through this business in the beginning, when I would, you know, a big thing that I was taught immediately, and I was so grateful to be in the Miracle Mile office, Lighthouse, right? And Dan Charlier would come in. Now we have Dan, you know, virtually. You know, I was like, Coach, this is going to be absolutely phenomenal for the team, because now everybody's going to get you all the time. And it was so imperative just to build a team, recruit, build a team, recruit, build a team, recruit, right? And then as doing that, I was like, okay, so I'm going to start bringing all these people to BPM. And I constantly always have people at BPM, right? Always constantly moving people around the Mo Zone, getting them in, doing the follow-up. And I remember when people would when I first started, right? I'm super fired up, and people would cancel or they reschedule. And it literally would, like, you know, like bring down my energy a little bit. I was like, oh man, they have to cancel or reschedule. Like, I got so tied to it emotionally. But just to come to find out, you know, after just, you know, being a business owner and evolving, you know, people, you know, at my job, I was working at a restaurant in Sherman Oaks when I got prospected to come into WFG. People used to call out, cancel, reschedule all the time, and never, like, the business just ran. The business is just going to run regardless. But when that does happen, you want to make sure that you're following up with them. And hey, are you okay? Right? You know, sometimes they just cancel last second, right? And sometimes we're like, oh, you know, what does that mean? But hey, are you, like, literally, one of my business partners, Laron, you know, he didn't show up to one of my meetings, and all of a sudden I was like, hey, are you all right, champ? And I didn't hear anything back from him. And him and his girlfriend were in a car accident. This was just literally the other day, right? It wasn't like, oh, you know, you have to, you know, you got to come from that, like, care of space. You know what I mean? You want to care about, you know, positive encouragements, contacts. So why 24 hours? People can get negative feedback from friends, family, or they have their own self-doubt. You know, our family is our biggest adversary. You know, this is also a key point where we're following up with the thank you kit, right? Because now they don't have to go on the internet and seek that, and they're finding stuff. But let's say they get some negative feedback. Individual, they leave BPM, they're fired up. I remember the first time that you heard this, right? Remember the first time you went to the presentation, a business presentation meeting. I remember how you felt when you left. Weren't you fired up? Of course you were, because everybody's on here. You guys want to become business partners, you guys and gals, right? So they're going to go home. They're going to say, oh my gosh, guess what? I found it. I found the thing that's going to take us to the promised land, all of our dreams. And people are going to be like, and they just had a bad day. They were just at their job, right? Something comes up, when people come home from their jobs and they're like bickering, like, that doesn't happen here in World Financial Group. Everybody's happy. Everybody's positive. It's the best. It's literally the best environment, right? But they're going to go and they're going to be like, that sounds too good to be true. What are you talking about? What were you doing? Some part of, what is that? Like a cult over there? Yeah, I actually love ours. It's actually great. It's positive. It's so funny. But anyway, friends, right? So they're going to get that kind of feedback, or they're going to have some self-doubt. Man, finance? Can I really do finance? Be a business owner? I've never owned anything in my whole life. I don't even own my home. I rent. To be a business owner, to own a business, they're going to have self-doubt. But we got to make sure that we follow up within 24 hours, because we all know, right? When you've seen the power of what we do, right? When we help a family with a retirement plan, set up someone with life insurance, make sure we help someone with an estate plan or with a will and a trust, help them out with debt, give someone an opportunity where they go out and they're going out and making an extra $2,000 to $3,000 or $5,000 to $10,000 a month, or out there making $50,000 to $100,000 a month, right? You choose the way that you want to play this game, right? But you have the opportunity to go create as much abundance as you want in your life. So, but in the beginning, I had some self-doubt. I was like, could I really do this? Finance? I don't know anything about finance. Rule of 72. I didn't even take my SATs. Never took my SATs. I couldn't even tell you. It would be horrible, right? But I just happen to really be good at this business, and I love it, and it's phenomenal, right? If questions, tell them their questions will be answered in the following interview or client appointment. So it's so important. We're not, we don't want to have a interview over the phone when we contact them after the BPM, right? We want to make sure that, hey, Alyssa, you know what? These are great questions. You know what? I'm really excited to sit down with you tomorrow and have that interview with you. Just write down all the questions you have, and then I'll go more into detail about those answers. And does that sound fair enough? Okay, great. And that's typically, yeah. Okay. And they're going to write down a bunch of questions. If they don't want to book an appointment. So if they don't want to book an appointment, you're going to say, okay. So Pavlina wanted to touch base before we say goodbye. So Pavlina is my upline, right? Everyone knows Pavi. I'm pretty sure everyone on here knows Pavlina. I'm so grateful for Pavlina to, give me this opportunity, a little over 3 years ago. But, when there was a challenge, when someone didn't want to book an appointment, I would just, leverage my leadership, because my leadership is seasoned. They know how to overcome objections. They know how to get to the root, right? And then go ahead and book that appointment. But then sometimes it's just not going to happen, you guys. I don't want to sit here and, sometimes it's just not going to happen, right? Some people, you can only lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it, right? That's a saying. I'm here in Louisville, Kentucky right now, so you're going to get a country saying. I'm actually looking at all of you guys right now. I didn't even see you guys before. I had like this little thing, but okay, I love seeing everybody's smiles. Okay, great. Good stuff, you guys. Good stuff. All right. So we want your impression of this to be fresh in your mind. So we're having a conversation with the individual. So we want your impression of this to be fresh on your mind. We pay close attention to the things more than you think. Actually, we rely on it, right? Trainers should always be ready to jump on your follow-up Zoom call. Now, some individuals, so we just brought someone to BPM, like myself. When Pavi brought me to BPM, okay, that night I said I want to do my follow-up interview. I wasn't waiting 24 hours. I sure as hell wasn't going to do 48. I gave that woman less than 15 minutes, and she was like, meet me in the office. And I had a boatload of questions for her, and I still had no idea what I signed up for after that. I just knew it was going to be life insurance and helping families, but I was so fired up. And before you know it, $100 and I own a business, and I'm fired up for that, right? So what's going to happen is some people are going to go, hey, look, let's talk right now. Great. Set the follow-up, right? Make sure your coach and your trainer is right there to support you. If you're not able to right now go through the process yourself, okay, and go ahead and leverage your leadership, and your leadership already knows. And you guys, it's a different experience when you go to BPM with a guest. Right? If the intention to go to BPM is not to invite your guest, what that tells me is that you're not interested in building a business. Just quite frankly, that's what it is, right? Every single BPM, we want to be striving that we are bringing guests. And what are our numbers? 10, 3, 1, right? And we all know that after going through the presentation part of this, right? Step 3. So follow-up interview. I'm going to go through a whole follow-up interview on Saturday, but just to touch a couple base points. Actually, how do I see all my time on here? Oh, here it is, 23 minutes. Okay, perfect. So the training should always follow up appointments. So with the camera on and the mic on. Training should positively reinforce the presenter's, trainer, and opportunity. So when the trainee's coming on, okay, they brought a guest. They're going to do this with their leader, right? Their mentor. Okay. We want to make sure at all times the camera and the mic is on at all times. You guys, every single time that you do something with World Financial Group, whether it's full-timers, whether it's BPM, whether it's this evening, I see a couple individuals with their cameras off. Saturdays, we always want to have our camera on. We are locked and engaged and serious about building our business, right? This is not something we're doing passively and casually, right? Because if you do it casually, you'll become a casualty. So we want to make sure we always have the camera and the mic on. We're always ready, right? Trainees should positively reinforce the presenter. So once again, edification. Biggest thing for the trainee at this point during this process is the edification of your leadership, right? It's the edification of your leadership, right? So when you go out on that appointment, hey, Alyssa, right before we even get started, I just want to thank Alyssa for her time right now. I'm so thankful that she's actually, she has such a busy calendar but such a busy schedule. She provides so much value to this company. She's one of the top leaders in this company. I'm so grateful that she's actually taken the time to help me out with this interview with you. So again, thank you so much, Alyssa, for your time. And, I'm so grateful for this opportunity with World Financial Group. Bam. All of a sudden, now that person that's being interviewed is looking at Alyssa like, okay, this woman is the real deal. So this is a real interview, right? Real interview. The interview now, it's so crazy, you guys. Before, when I worked, always managed, and I never hired anybody. Never. I was always being interviewed. I never was doing the interviewing, right? It's an area that we get to grow in. It's going to be a little uncomfortable at first. Thank God we have a checklist, right? You just read the checklist, but then naturally what happens is you start getting really good at it. But this is an interview, right? Because higher laws and more in depth with World Financial Group that, yeah, we want to recruit. We want to help out. We want to give everyone an opportunity, but we also want to be very specific on who we give the opportunity to. Does that make sense? Because as you provide more value and as you continue through your WFG experience, right, you're going to see like, look, I just don't have, like, you only have so much time in this world. You want to make sure that you're spending it with the right individuals, right? And you want to build the right team. The interview spends the first minutes building rapport with the new business partner. So always when we're anytime, we always want to make sure that we're doing our what's called our TRC, our trust, respect, customize. right? It's a worksheet in the Dropbox link. This is building rapport, asking those specific questions, getting to know that individual, finding out what the most important thing is to them, finding out what their goals and dreams are, what they want to create in their life, what they dislike, what they're dissatisfied with, getting all that out, entice and withdraw, entice and withdraw. Get really good at enticing and withdrawing, and you'll be a phenomenal recruiter in WFG. Phenomenal recruiter, right? Because as soon as you entice someone, take it away, right? Think about it like this. I remember like if going out and dating someone, you're like, oh my gosh, you're like all of, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. But when you come a little bit smooth and you're like, I got a little bit, they're like, oh, okay, a little bit more exciting. Follow-up interview. So suggest questions to ask prospects. So some suggestive questions. Ask the prospect what aspects of the business intrigue him or her the most. So what intrigued you the most? Man, what intrigued me the most, Nick? It was the financial education, being able to sit down with families and help them develop game plans. Amazing. What else stood out to you? And what else stood out to you for the opportunity? Wow, I just love the fact that you could build a business here, right? Would you agree that the financial education is important? Yes. Well, obviously, if they have said that, but in another way, would you agree that the financial, yes, of course it's important. I've never learned about tax now, tax later, tax deferred, rule of 72, compound interest, how money works, the 4 financial cornerstones to building wealth. No one ever taught me that. Yes, it's absolutely phenomenal. World class with what you guys do here for free. For free. If you're in the same financial position 5 years from now, would you be happy? No, actually, I'm looking for an opportunity where I can come work somewhere part-time and, earn an additional $2,000 to $3,000 a month. That would drastically change my family. That would help out so much. Wonderful. What are some goals and dreams that you have that cost money to you? Wow, my wife and I, we have this beautiful home that we vision, taking our families on vacation, being able to provide so much charity and to churches and, and being able to do so much with it, right? And people will tell you their goals and their dreams, you guys. It's so important to hit someone in their heart and find out what's so important to them, it's the key to our business. It's the key to World Financial Group. Really caring about people. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 times more. Ask her if he or she has any questions about particular aspect of the company business. So great point. So what questions do you have for me, right? This gives a great time. So, so Alyssa had all those questions. She had them all typed out here. Great. Now, now this gives her the opportunity to ask all those questions and for the trainer to go through that, or for yourself as the leader can go through that when you're ready. Review. So this goes over, what training is going to look like, licensing and time commitment, right? I want to establish some skin real quick where I'm getting some commitments to make sure that this is going to be a good fit, that they understand, hey, look, there's some training involved. There's licensing, right? What's your time commitment? What does it look like? Right? Then we're going to complete the associate membership agreement. Fired up. They're like, let's do our AMA. So I'm pretty sure we've all gone through that process. If not, the next one, ask your coach, say, hey, look, can I take the reins on this one? I'd like to fill out the information, right? I'd like to go through this, right? Hands-on experience, right? They say what? An hour out in the real world is worth more than 10 hours in a classroom. Wouldn't you agree? Character reference script. Complete the associate membership agreement. Set appointment for fast start with spouse within 24 hours. So key that once we onboard someone into our organization, that we get with their spouse within 24 hours. So that next appointment, that fast start appointment is with the spouse, right? Sharing with the spouse of what this, husband or wife is now doing with our company and our organization, what those long hours might be like, or, the biggest thing is I don't even think about that. Just from the perspective of sharing the information, okay, setting up a financial game plan, but then it's also, marketing, right? Because now your spouse is out and about and now all of a sudden they prospect someone or they go tell, it's so key to get the spouse involved at all times. And if they're not married with their significant other, and if not their significant other, the closest person to them, mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever that is. And we want to do that again, 24 hours. Within 24 hours. So we recruit someone today, tomorrow, the fast start. Friday is the latest. You guys really get in the habit of doing within 24 hours. Really, I challenge you to do that. Your business will, it's a different pace and speed. And it's just, I don't know, it's just cohesiveness, right? Um, and it doesn't allow so much for gap, because in World Financial Group, we get to evolve as humans and we get to evolve as owners of business. And we're out here all chasing our dreams and creating that for ourselves and for our lives and for others, being able to help them. But, you know, entrepreneurship, sometimes there's doubt, it happens. It's nature, human nature, right? Questioning. We want to make sure, like I make sure that I reach out to everyone on my team every single day, right? That I'm here to support you, right? I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to praise you. I'm going to recognize you. You get to start acting as if right now this individual is already in business. And as soon as they are, already set that standard, give approved links or the other materials to the new associate. So this is setting up the, my apologies. Make sure that they're next one-on-one. Okay, we talked about the fast start with the spouse and the next one-on-one. Yeah. So making sure that once again, that you're obviously going, and you'll see that in the startup. I was going to talk about going to the appointments, and then give approved links. So some questions. This is actually in the BFS, in the book that you have, or virtually if you have it online. This is one of the pages. This is what I just went off of when I first got in here, right? I just started going, tell me a little bit about and I literally use the exact same questions. I might change it up just a little bit, like in order, but I use this is what I use, right? So tell me a little bit about yourself and your upbringing, all the things presented, what stood out the most to you, what qualities do you have? If you make good money, what plans do you have for your family? Have you had leadership experience before? And the question number 5, have you had leadership experience before? I challenge you to get really good at asking a bunch of questions in the beginning that you already know that answer, right? Like you have already connected with this person. So, there's a tether there that you already know this information, right? You're sharp. Pros have the ability to make things look easy, and we want to be a pro at everything we do. Answer any questions, which was one of the questions before. There's 2 different types of career paths: agent or becoming a broker. Which career path do you choose? Time commitment and getting your code number, and then setting up within the 48 hours is the checklist per se of what that looks like, right? And then here you're getting your commitment to time, online scheduled trainings, and then the launch party. What I absolutely love about what we've done in the virtual space, and what our team was able to just like pivot immediately, was the launch parties. So key. Before, once again, we want everything to move more quickly. But like if we can help an agent, right? If we can help a new business partner and put a bunch of raw material in a launch party immediately in business within their first 2 weeks, right? That's a lot of exposure, as opposed to one phone call. You go out on some field training appointments, but then immediately you're setting up that launch party, right? You want to make sure that that agent, that new business partner, is getting all that exposure. Because remember, not everybody's going to buy, and not everybody's going to come into business. But then those individuals can give referrals. And folks have built multi-million-dollar businesses on just referrals only, right? If you're at full timers, you hear Dan talking about that with his health coach, right? Referrals, keys, and such an easy, and it's so easy when you're working in a warm market, right? Sometimes we have to go cold to get warm. But if we can keep within that warm market and just work off of referrals, hey, Alyssa referred me to you, Nick. I would love to sit down and do my finances. Amazing, wonderful. I'm more than happy to help you. Now, those who don't become a team member, right? So we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, right? So if we get all hyped up, we're like, oh, this person's going to be amazing. They're going to become a team member. I'm fired up, and it wasn't for them, right? It just wasn't for them. Well, what's the next thing we want to do? We want to help do a free complimentary financial needs analysis with them. Let's set them up with a game plan, right? Hey, look, we do this complimentary financial needs analysis. All I do is I work off of what? Referrals, right? I work off of referrals, and I can actually help you, and we can take a look, and I'll send you an Excel spreadsheet. You'll fill it out. We'll plug it into the financial needs analysis. It'll give us a readout of what your insurable need is, what your financial independence number is, and we'll go over charts and flows. You're open-minded to doing that, aren't you? Yeah, I am. Wonderful. You guys saw that, right? You're open-minded to doing that, aren't you? You're open-minded to do it. Do a little shaking the head too when you talk to them in person. They'll start shaking their head, right? It's called a McCabe nod, old sales technique. If not them, who do they know? So, sometimes even when I'm making phone calls, not even just hearing the follow-up, right? But sometimes even just making phone calls, someone's not interested. It's like, hey, I appreciate your feedback from the company. Who do you know that I can sit down and talk to, that I can share this education with? Someone, maybe a brother or sister that has some children. Do you know do you know anyone that's looking for an opportunity right now, that's really good with sales, maybe possibly a teacher? They're enthusiastic, ambitious, they're money motivated, right? Making sure that we're asking them who they know. We never just leave at one time. We constantly want to be opening up all the doors. Constantly want to be opening up all the doors, right? It's that, like, ultimate level of thinking. Like, we're not just so closed-minded they say no that we stop. We're like, okay, well then who do you know? Financial needs analysis. Help me help you. Help me help your family, right? Complete their own personal F&A. At this point, they're impressed. Who do they know? We're getting referrals, and it's a never-ending business, right? And then you never know. All of a sudden, they start referring, and then they go, man, wait a minute, I'm referring all this business. And I remember Alyssa actually saying to me that I would be able to do this off a referral basis. Part-time, I could be making money. All of a sudden, hey, Alyssa, all the referrals I've been given to you, thank you so much again for helping everyone. But I'm interested now in actually becoming a business partner and making some money and get me into licensing. That conversation's going to happen, you guys, right? That conversation's going to happen. The fortune is in the follow-up. I wish I had the numbers for you. I don't. My apologies. I know Christopher Schleiman had one. It was like phenomenal with the, I think it's like after 8 to 9 times, it's 80%, 83% that, people, sometimes it takes 8 to 10 times to follow up with someone. Following up is caring, right? Building a relationship. I have over 1,000 names and numbers on my prospect list. Most of a good amount of individuals off that list have come into business with me, and I've helped out a tremendous amount of individuals through financial products. But then it's also like following up with the people that haven't bought from me and that haven't come into business with me, and continuing to build that relationship. They have kids, making sure I'm following up. Hey, how are your kids? How's work going? How is everything? Right? Not just following up immediately, but long term, right? Because plant seeds now and continue to plant seeds, and then all of a sudden you'll harvest those seeds in a different season. Could be 3 months. Someone could come to BPM tomorrow, you guys, and they can come into business with you in 5 years from now. You just continue to follow up with them. And that person in 5 years from now, you'll be a totally different leader in this business. And all of a sudden they come in and they're running a rapid fire, and now you're just like a stud, making money, you're helping families, you have a big team. They come in and now it's a whole different experience, right? Never have limitations on your mindset. Don't ever do that to yourself, right? Allow yourself to imagine and the belief of all possibilities in life. It's such a tremendous space when you can get into that space. And because of World Financial Group, I'm so grateful because of this company. It has allowed me to tap into that resource and to become a better version of myself, which is phenomenal, right? And I'm pretty sure everyone on this call right now has experienced that with being part of World Financial Group, right? Follow up with the clients. Follow up if they contacted their referrals. Follow up on new agents licensing. Always following up. Follow up on matchup appointments. It's a big one. Although I also feel like, when we set the standard, when we're actually matching out one of our business partners, that we have the conversation where the individual's also making sure that they're following up with us. That's a tight system, right? That you're not always chasing, but there's that agreement. Like, we're going to do business together. You're going to take out my agent out in the field. This is someone who I care about. They came to me with their dreams. I want to make sure that I'm matching up this individual. They're going to be following up with me, making sure that everything's going on. But as leaders, we're always following up, right? No matter here or there. Follow up on Instagram followers, big one, right? Someone contacts, you know, hard to immediately. What I love about Natalie Plant is every time I talk to Natalie, right, when it's on Instagram, even through text message, she's always harding, like immediately. She's like so good with it. So it just shows that like she cares, right? She, you know, it's amazing. We want to, once again, top one, right? Following up is what? Caring. Follow up with previous prospects, events, holidays, right? So right now right now we're coming into the holidays, right? So we already got our business cards, our holiday cards already coming ordered. We're ready to actually send them out. Once we start doing that, send them out to everybody, clients and individuals who you, not even your client or your business partner, but following up, right? Just giving that initiative, that extra step, like you genuinely care. Because we do. Because if you don't, they won't come into business with you and they won't do business with you, right? Follow up with previous teammates, and then follow up, follow up, follow up. So Ed Milet, the amazing Ed Milet, I am not a self-made millionaire. I am a team-made millionaire. Other people help me get there. Nobody does anything great alone. And that's why I'm so grateful for Synergy, you guys, because, you know, to have this opportunity for all of us to create an abundance amount of wealth and to become millionaires and to be able to be a part of a team to do it, it's phenomenal to have amazing individuals like yourself. And I'm so grateful to be in business with every single one of you on here. And I might not even know exactly who you are. So as we wrap up here, you guys, we have 3 minutes or less. Does anybody have any questions or feedback, comments? Anything is open, please. No? Nothing? Do I have to call on someone to get somebody's feedback? Gina Morris. I'm looking at you, Gina Morris. Feedback.
I had a feeling. Feedback. Nick, I always appreciate your trainings. I'm part of Team Ohana, Kingdom Builders, and I know you've been with our team before presenting all of your knowledge, and I just appreciate it. Every time I'm like sitting over here just like typing a bunch of notes. So feedback is, I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate like the rawness of what you give us every single time. And so yeah, I just appreciate it. And my little one.
Thank you, Gina. I greatly appreciate it. Marcos Garcia. Marcos, you got anything for me, Marcos Garcia?
Hey, you know, thank you for all these like just wonderful like insights. You know, I'm still just getting the groundwork going. Had my first KTP one just this right before this, so
Congratulations.
thank you. And you'll hear my boys, you know, they're running around being crazy right now, but I got 2 little toddlers, so that's my purpose. So yeah, no, and then I also work with Ohana. Gina actually was on the KTP one with me, so yeah, just really taking all taking in all this information first. So thank you.
Amazing.
A question for you, Nick.
So much. Yeah.
This is Leroy Freelon.
Leroy, you know what's funny? I was just gonna call on you next, so
okay,
I was
cool.
already vibing with you.
Great minds. Hey, how do you handle what suggestions do you have for handling the situation where there's either a single person or a spouse that's kind of reluctant to sit down with you when you want to do the follow-up?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question, Leroy. So actually that happened to me with one of my business partners, John Pleasant. Look, there's only so much that we can come from a space of making sure that we can book that appointment. But for whatever reason, if we can't, we still just go through the follow-up. We're gonna have to maneuver differently, but we want to make sure that we're really exhausting before we go to that. Now, obviously, it's not one of those spaces where we're like, hey, this can't happen, you can't come into business, because that's, you know, that you don't want to do that, right? That's like just mean. But we go through it like, hey, it's so important that we sit down with your spouse, because as we come up with your financial game plan, you know, to go through that. And really, it's just going to be step by step, holding that individual's hand. And then, you know, when Marina came around is when we did that launch party. When we did that launch party and she saw John going through the information and saw the power of our company, now she was actually referring John business, and John, you know, and now all of a sudden it becomes on board. So we want to exhaust it, but eventually just work with that agent, and then eventually the fruits will bear. Yeah, great question though. That's a phenomenal question, Leroy. All right, you guys, well, we have 13 seconds left. So I trust all of you will have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you on Saturday, and we'll run through a whole entire follow-up interview. All right, you guys, take care. Thank you kindly.